If you've seen Farmington, Prairie Grove, and Lincoln on the map and you've been thinking about moving to Northwest Arkansas, well, today we're talking about everything pros and cons of those three. We're getting after it right now. For Farmington, Prairie Grove, and Lincoln, the first pro I would list is the ease of access. It's one highway, Highway 62. At Lincoln, you're probably 20-25 minutes away from the interstate. Prairie Grove, you're 15-17 minutes. At Farmington, you're 5-6 minutes away from the interstate, depending on where you are in Farmington. So its proximity to the highway is super close. You can get, you starting out in Fayetteville on the exit, and so you're probably from there 30 minutes from Bentonville if that's where you're headed to. But it's a great area. The traffic can get a little heavy getting to and from the interstate. Since it's a one main highway, it's 5 lanes all the way down to Prairie Grove. Then it goes down to a 2-lane from Prairie Grove to Lincoln. So there's a bunch of new neighborhoods going in, ones that are just about to be done, well-established neighborhoods all around the area that you can find a resale house. But if you're looking for a new construction, these are great areas to do so. They have fantastic schools. I'm actually at the Farmington High School right now and sports complex. It's a beautiful area. You got a Mount Kessler right over there. You got the mountains to the south right over there. It is absolutely stunning. The kind of houses that you're going to find around in Farmington, Prairie Grove, Lincoln, there's a good amount of neighborhoods that are going in, developments, but there's also 5, 10, 20, 1-acre parcels with a house that are going to be great for little homesteads, great for being out in the country, being away from everybody. If you go a little bit further south and a little bit wider than Prairie Grove, Lincoln, or Farmington, you're going to find a little bit bigger options. You're going to find a little bit more secluded, maybe more in the mountains south of us. So that's going to be some really good options for rural living. And for some of you, that's a con. But for a good amount of you, you're looking for that, exactly, and we'd love to help you find that. Let's talk about schools right now. Prairie Grove, Farmington, Lincoln, they all have their own high schools. They all have their own middle schools and elementary schools. They are really good school districts. They're rural country towns that have smaller populations, and so they're not overcrowded like maybe Fayetteville or Springdale or Bentonville, where there's so many kids there, thousands of kids going there. This is going to be a lot smaller class sizes, smaller overall graduating classes. So Farmington, Prairie Grove, Lincoln, they have some spectacular schools. They're going to be a perfect fit for you and your family and what you're looking for after school activities. There's a lot of equine properties out here. There's a lot of FFA, 4-H, chickens and cattle and livestock, goats, whatever you're looking for. Farmington, Lincoln, Prairie Grove in the rural aspect of life is going to be a good spot to offer that. And you're not going to be too far away from grocery stores. Let's talk about that right quick. Granted, you're going to be limited to one Harps store out in Prairie Grove. There's no grocery stores in Lincoln, maybe a little mom and pop kind of small grocery store, itty bitty. And then there's a small Walmart in Farmington, and that's it. If you go towards the highway, you're hitting Fayetteville. You're going to be hitting the Super Walmart and an Aldi's. That's the best option for grocery stores. So that's going to be a con to some people, is not having that selection, being a little bit further away from food resources and also restaurants. I like to eat out. There's some good restaurants in each of these towns, but the further you go out, Lincoln, I think there's 3 or 4, and they're kind of greasy spoon mom and pop diners, really fun places. Maybe not the most nutritious. Maybe they are. I've only eaten there once at one place. And then Prairie Grove has a really great Mexican restaurant. It has a restaurant I went to that there was 2 things on the menu that I saw that wasn't fried. It was really good, but that was the only options. And so there's some really good restaurants, but Farmington is going to have much more selection. One of my favorite places, I live right by it, is Briar Rose Bakery. They make some really good pastries and breakfast things. Every now and then, probably once or twice a month, my wife and I go over there for grab some coffee, grab some good grub on a Saturday morning, and just really enjoy the day. All right, let's talk about internet. A lot of people are working remote nowadays. They need to stream videos to keep the kids entertained, whatever they need to do, play video games, whatever you're looking for. Farmington, Prairie Grove, I know that the more central areas of those two towns, they have fiber optic internet. They also have high-speed other sources, cable, DSL, through some providers. But Lincoln, I'm unsure of. Maybe some downtown stuff, but there's maybe the outskirts are going to be not supplied with fiber optic internet, so that just be cautious of that. That might be a con for you, is when you're looking at these areas, if you need that high-speed internet for work, then maybe we'll find something a little bit closer to town. Maybe we'll navigate that a little bit, but just be on the lookout that we do have high-speed internet in a lot of areas, but it's still progressing out there currently. So if you're looking for value for your dollar, Lincoln, Prairie Grove, Farmington, compared to Fayetteville and Springdale, you're going to get a lot of value for your dollar out here, where Fayetteville is probably going to be $200 to $300 a square foot, depending on the size, depending on the finishes, depending on how new it is. Farmington, Prairie Grove, Lincoln, you're going to be all the way down into the 140s to 180s for comparables in the same size house that you would find in Fayetteville, and you're just 20-25 minutes away. So it's a really good value, more bang for your buck out in these three cities, towns rather. And so also your property taxes, you know, Fayetteville city taxes on top of your property taxes is a little bit higher. Out here in the country, Farmington, Prairie Grove, Lincoln, you're going to be a little bit lower, going to be cheaper taxes. Lincoln is going to be the cheapest of the three. Prairie Grove has some really great, they've been pouring a lot of money back into their school systems, public library systems, making sure the city is actually ready to grow and thrive and really be an expansion point for neighborhoods, for people commuting to Fayetteville. And so their property taxes are not as low as Lincoln, but they're still good, and they have some really good resources for a little city that they are, a little town. Prairie Grove is probably one of my favorite places of the three, just because the views, the rolling pastures they have. Prairie Grove Battlefield Park, Civil War battlefield. That's a really cool place. They got some museums. They've got some just some cabins you can go look through, get a tour, do a self-guided tour, whatever you want to do. It's a really fun place to go, just to learn some history. And there's also some other battlefields up in Prairie Bridge, way north of here. And so very historical area right here, very beautiful. So Farmington, Prairie Grove, there's not really any rivers or lake access around them, but Lake Lincoln, I've heard, is a really beautiful place. And it's a very clean lake, very fun place to go hang out, some nice picnic tables, good tree coverage, and you can get cooled off in the hot summer like today. So there's some really good lake access there. There's going to be some streams and little creeks out in the field that maybe you can, you know, if the water's running pretty good, you can go cool off there, you can do some fishing maybe. I know a lot of areas around Fayetteville, Farmington, that when it's too hot, you'll see a dozen cars parked on the side of the road, and you see a whole bunch of people just sitting in the creek, getting cooled off, enjoying the day, maybe kids playing around in the water. If that's the lifestyle that you want for you and your family, then please reach out to us, phone call, text, email, whatever you got, days, nights, weekends. We absolutely love when people reach out to us so we can answer their questions, get them pointed in the right directions. Maybe Prairie Grove, Lincoln, Farmington is a place for you. Maybe not. Maybe it's east of Fayetteville, over in Elkins or up in Pea Ridge. Who knows? We're going to find that out, and we're going to help you find the right area of Northwest Arkansas for you. So what I really like about Farmington, Prairie Grove, and Lincoln, you get the small town feel of where it's not, you know, tens of thousands of people, but you can still, there's still farmers markets where you can go see your neighbors. People are still polite, kind, and neighborly, southern hospitality to you. There's really good local events that you can go to get to know your people around you. That's what I really like about the area. And plus, I love the vista, and it doesn't translate onto the camera here, but Mount Kessler right over there is probably 400 feet above where I'm standing. Down to the south of me, there's a bunch of mountains just going into the Ozarks, heading towards West Fork and Hogeye. Beautiful area. Just driving through that, man, it just makes my heart slow down, and just the pace of life just is much more, just lets me take a breath and relax and just be in the moment, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So that's what I love. Now, what I don't like, sometimes the traffic is a pain in the butt. The lack of grocery stores. I went into a Walmart in Farmington. Man, it was busy. It was cramped. I had to park all the way, it wasn't that big of a parking lot, but I had to park all the way out, walk in, and I was just like pushing a cart around and constantly like bumping into people trying to get by. There wasn't a smooth pace of getting my food and getting to where I needed to go. And so that's one thing that frustrated me about Farmington. And then if you go out to Prairie Grove, to the Harp store, you're golden on that. There's not they're quick at that. They have a nice, well-stocked store. They're going to take care of you really well. So that's everything there is about pros and cons about living in Farmington, Prairie Grove, and Lincoln. Until the next video, catch you then.